In this movie, we'll go ahead and take a look at how you set up your Anime Studio Pro scene for output in the first place. It's something that we've looked at real briefly, and we haven't covered all the parameters of that, and that happens to be the project settings. Under the File pull-down menu, you can go to that, open that up, and let's take a look at that. What we've got going on here, and we've seen the Enable 3D camera before, we've seen sort layers by depth before, and we've also seen depth of field in some of our earlier movies to carry off some believable rendered effects. However, let's look at how we initially set up scenes and begin working. Under Dimensions, and right now I've got this set for Web 16:9 down here, we've got some other common formats that you might be outputting to. Obviously, Web is something that you may use more than any other. So we've got a web standard format of 320 pixels by 240. And you may be asking, where do these sizes come from and why should I care? Can't I change the size? And the answer is yes, you can do that. However, some of the compression-decompression schemes, the codecs, are actually optimized to work at specific ratios of height to width. And that's the case with these formats. The formats under the presets are optimized to work with a number of codecs that are out there, and also to fit things like television screens. The NTSC standard is common for the United States, and the PAL standard is common for Europe. Additionally, we've got something to consider here for frame rate. While you can deliver a higher frame rate on the web than, say, 12 frames per second, usually I'll go with something closer to 15 or 20 because sophisticated graphics cards are becoming more commonplace. But realize that if you're preparing something for your grandma, she may not be able to see it unless you've helped her set up her computer and know it works great. For US television, a standard frame rate's about 30. For digital video, the standard frame rate's 24. Web, the standard still hovers right at 12, but more people like myself are delivering at 15 and 18 and 20 frames per second. So you just have to kind of determine what capacity you're going into. Something else to consider is that the NTSC and the PAL formats have different what are called color spaces. New to Anime Studio Pro now is some NTSC color safe export formats. So if you've got this enabled, it's just great because you don't have to go into a video program and prevent what are called illegal colors. Now I know that sounds kind of silly if you're unfamiliar with it, or if you're trying to create something that you might put on a DVD and share with family, or for an office presentation. There are colors that just vibrate on the screen unless they are legal colors. Red is a good example. You can have whites that are actually too white, and they make the electronics in the TV fight back just a little bit. So that's new to Anime Studio Pro. Additionally, if you feel like it, you can do some 3D rendering here by enabling the stereoscopic rendering. That's that kind of weird blue and green where you have to have the special glasses. If you enjoy, headaches, that's a great thing to do. Also here we have got extra SWF frame. This is convenient. I'm not going to explain the intricacies of working with Flash. If you're already familiar with that, you'll appreciate this little option. Also, we can set background colors here that show up for renders of all kinds, whether you're going to Flash or movies or sequenced images. But in some cases, especially Flash, you can actually drop this color out, and we'll talk about that also in just a second. I'll select OK for our standard format right here. Additionally, you set your beginning and end frame. Pretty self-explanatory right there. But let's look at something else. We have, on occasion, done some spot renders. On the Macintosh, it's Command R. On the PC, it's Control R. And we get a quick render of our scene, and then we have the ability to save as, if we actually want to save this out for proofing or single image, or to use it actually for a poster frame for a movie. However, when you disclose what you've got here as options, you don't actually have the full range of formats that you can export into. There's 4 formats, and let me explain each of them in case you're unfamiliar. The JPEG format is a common photographic, typical imagery on the web type of format. It is lossy compression. Every time an image opens and closes, it's throwing information away. Choosing the right setting is a little bit of a juggling act between keeping your file sizes down and having a nice quality image. The bitmap format is common to Windows applications. It, like the JPEG, uses the lossy compression format. It typically will compress files a little bit larger than JPEG files. A Targa file is a file that can jump from format to format. And by format, I mean television to Photoshop to web. It carries with it alpha information. That's good if you need to do some compositing over some backgrounds. Now, Targa format does have a lossy compression scheme, but you can control how significant that is. The PNG format, PNG, also has alpha information stored with it, but it is a lossless compression scheme, meaning that no information is compromised in your animations or sequenced files when you send it out. Finally, you get copied to clipboard if you're going to dump this into Photoshop and work with it, something like that. In our next movie, we'll go ahead and start exporting a movie and take a look at some of the options we've got, both for movies, sequenced image files, and flash files.